everybody. This is Robyn Leslie with OnlyTheInspired.com doing an amazing interview with Mr. Duane Crabtree. He's in Utah, so he's got quite a story, quite an interesting place where he came from and how he switched that to what he's doing today. So in a couple of minutes, Duane, let me know or let the people know who you are and how you help people.
Great, thanks. It's nice to meet you. And Robyn, it's great to spend time with you today, and it's nice to meet our listeners and watchers out there. But my purpose and passion is just to serve and inspire others and help them overcome obstacles in their life and accomplish their dreams and goals. I've been a successful sales professional for over 25 years and spent a lot of those years in management. But I've just felt the need to transition so that I can help more people accomplish their dreams and get what they want out of life, and work with people who want to change and who want to be better.
Got you. So how did you get started in that, and what took you from your sales job into, was it one event or a series of events? And I know tech overwhelm is a big part. So maybe you could get into that as to why you switched.
Sure. And it wasn't an individual event. It was definitely an evolution that's happened and still happening. It was really God directed me to do this. He's been trying to get my attention for years, and I went from being overwhelmed and overworked and just being so controlled by technology, and I went through a transition to just come alive and rediscover my life and have a new passion and purpose. I like to kind of tell it a little bit. We can all relate with trying to talk to a teenager who's glued to their phone.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how hard that is to get through to them. They're not listening. You don't think they're hearing a word you say, and it's so hard to connect with them. But what happens when that's your spouse and you're trying to have a conversation and there's just no connection? Unfortunately, that was me for much of the last 10 to 15 years of my life. And I remember several years ago being on vacation in Jamaica with my wife. Here we are on this beautiful island, just enjoying the serenity and beauty of this tropical paradise. And it's supposed to be this beautiful time for connection and relaxation, except for one thing. I brought my phone with me to the beach, and I brought my computer with me, and in the hotel room I'm doing emails, but here we are out on the beach, just in this beautiful paradise, and I get this email from a client who's having problems and just needs my help. And so I'm trying to coordinate and get some information over to my service technician and help them figure out what's going on, why their system is down, how we can help them get it going. And then while I'm on my phone, I get another email from this potential customer I've been trying to get in with for years. But he's like finally ready for a proposal. And I'm like, oh wow, I gotta work on that. I gotta get him some information. I at least need to message him back right now. And then I get another email from one of my sales reps, and they've got a customer that has this critical issue, and my wife is sitting next to me, and she's been trying to talk to me about our plans for the day, and here I am completely oblivious, completely zoned out, completely glued to my phone and lost in my world of work instead of enjoying this serenity and beauty that's around me. And I was just living for so many years that the last 8 years I was working essentially 2 full-time jobs for the same company. When they acquired us in 2012, they asked me to be a regional vice president of sales and manage the Western region, but also be a full-time sales rep and have a full quota. So here I am juggling these 2 jobs simultaneously, and I was just checked out. I was wearing this crazy busy lifestyle and wearing that like a badge of honor. Like I was I felt needed. I felt wanted. And, with our phones and technology, there's those dopamine hits that are real. I mean, they make you feel important. And I did feel important, and I did feel needed and wanted. Speaking of distractions, I turned it on airplane mode, and then I have an alarm that goes off. But that's the way those things work.
Exactly.
And it's not that the phones themselves are bad. It was how I was using it, and how many of us use our phones where we're just so glued to them, and they're demanding our attention all day long. And they make us feel important and needed and wanted, and we get this rush of adrenaline every time we hear a beep, or hey, somebody wants me, somebody wants to talk to me. But what it does is it kills the connection of everybody around you. But what's happened for me is God really directed me and tried to get my attention, and kept putting these programs. It was some books that I read, and then programs that I attended. And just this message of, you've got to slow down your life. It's okay to take some time away from your phone. It's okay to turn off notifications. It's okay to have scheduled time away from phone calls and emails. But that wasn't my company culture. That was not the way I was supposed to do it. So it was really hard. And it took me a long time to finally get to that point. But over continuous messages that God kept putting in my life, I felt it was time to make some changes. And last year I resigned from my role as a regional vice president and stepped away from that so that I could have time in my life to be connected with my wife, with my children. They're so important to me. And I love being with them, but I need to be there emotionally and not just physically, and have real connection with them. And now I'm able to go on vacation with my wife and turn off my phone, leave my phone in the hotel. I'm able to go out hiking and find greater connection with God, because I can actually not worry about how many people I'm leaving out and not responding to. And I can just go out and enjoy nature and feel God's love and his presence, or be with the people I'm with and really be there. Even just having conversations with my wife at the dinner table, where I used to always bring my phone. I don't take my phone to the dinner table, and I can look her in the eye and have real conversations with her. And my bedroom is now a no cell phone zone. I don't bring my phone into the bedroom at night anymore, and I used to all the time. But I've just found greater connection and greater and more peace. I was suffering with some health problems too. I didn't even connect the dots until now, when I look back and see some changes that I've made, losing weight, being healthy, and spending more time exercising, all because I'm able to have better control. And instead of being controlled by my digital devices now, I am in control, and I choose when I go to those. So that's kind of what's helped evolve. It's a little bit of a long answer, but it's a little bit of what's happened to me.
Oh, and that's okay. That's okay. And I get that. There's so many of us that, just with me starting all these coach interviews, I'm finally getting my dream going. And so I've been on my phone a lot more because, I want to stay on top of it. I want to answer questions right away. And then, so I look at my fiance, and his number one love language is quality time. And I'm sitting next to him, but not being present. I'm on my phone, and, and part of that's excitement. Part of it is, certain people have expectations, but you can't really drop the most important people in your life and just, squeeze in an hour for them. And, he said something to me because, I'm all excited about all these videos and where I'm going. He said, "Can I schedule in some time with you?" I'm like, "Oh, that's so sad." That's so sad that you feel like you have to ask that. But it could get out of hand without us even knowing it. And so you had told me when we first met that you had lost 65 pounds since you made some changes, and that's a dramatic difference in anyone's health.
Yeah. And I don't know that I could have done that without freeing up some time in my life. Because even just taking the time to go to the gym, I might spend 20 minutes exercising before, but now I can go spend an hour or an hour and a half, go on a hike or go on longer bike rides. And I'm just enjoying it and finding new passion in it that I never felt before, because I was always so worried about all the people I was leaving behind, all the people that needed me and were depending on me. And they're okay. They're okay without me. There's other people that can fill those roles. And now I have to be careful. Boundaries are so important, because now I'm jumping into a speaking career and coaching and doing online presentations, and I need to be careful with boundaries. And that's what a really important part of things is learning, what can I say no to, where do I set my boundaries, and I'm still doing my sales job, but that's something I'll transition away from eventually as I do this, because I want to help people and I want to share my message. But it feels so good to be free from some of those issues I was having. I didn't realize how much stress I was feeling and how I wasn't sleeping well, and I was oversleeping and always tired, and my energy was zapped, and I had weight problems, and I was on the verge of diabetes and severely obese, and just needed to make some of these changes. And sometimes it takes a little time to cook healthy meals and exercise, but I wouldn't have been able to do that without having the courage to take that step to step away from an important title and prestige with that. And it's okay.
Awesome. And I appreciate you being vulnerable and explaining that. So describe your ultimate vision for your business.
Well, and my purpose and passion is just to serve and inspire others and to help other people. I love the technology that's available to us so that we can do things like this and open the door to reach thousands of people, instead of maybe I could reach a couple hundred if it wasn't for technology, but now I could reach thousands and tens of thousands. But I really just see my vision as helping other people regain control of their lives and finding their purpose and living their dreams. Being able to connect with people in all parts of the world and just helping them see what they're capable of and work together to make the world a better place. Because I can't do it alone, but all of us together can make the world a better place and find more joy and satisfaction out of our lives and find greater connection with the people that are most important to us.
Because on somebody's deathbed, we never say, I wish I would have worked more.
Right? Yeah.
Well, none of us have ever said that. I wish I would have worked more. It's I wish I would have spent more time with my wife or my kids or grandkids or whatever. So, and I don't see a lot of people in your industry. But what beliefs do you have that sets you apart from your competition? And I'm much more of a collaboration than competition person, but we all have different perspectives, different points of view. So I'm curious what yours is.
Well, and I think one of the things is I just have been very blessed with a positive mindset throughout my life. I term it as an eternal optimist. I look for the good in everything, and I can usually find good in just about any situation. I even joke with my family that even if you take a glass that looks completely empty, in my perspective, it's still full of air.
That's one way to look at it.
And so again, it's just sometimes the perspective on things. And so gaining control of our lives is important, but so is our mindset and the way that we approach things and what we believe in. And anybody watching this probably knows what the law of attraction is, but our mindset and what we think and what we say to ourselves, and catching ourselves and the negative self-talk, and learning how to control that a little bit and be aware of it. Awareness is important too. But I've had some good life experiences. I've experienced a lot of successes and a lot of failures. I had a business that failed 15 years ago in selling. I had 5 retail cell phone stores, and that business failed. I had a marriage that failed. I've struggled with addictions, and we talked about my weight problems, and I was severely obese for many years. But I've overcome many of those things, and I've had great success by just continuing to persevere and push forward when hard times come, when difficulties come. And then, just understanding what many people go through of being so overwhelmed that you can't see straight. You start your day with a to-do list and you end your day with a longer to-do list. I know what that feels like.
You don't get enough sleep. You sleep because you're exhausted, but you're not. Your mind is still worried about the to-do list that you have for the next day or the next week.
Yep. Or an email inbox that has more emails at the end of the day than when you started the day. So I think I can relate with people there. And I think there's a lot of people in that situation. Technology is awesome and it helps us do so much more. But I also think the expectations of us are way more than they used to be 10 and 20 years ago without it, because we can do a lot more, but we've got to have some balance and some control in how we do that. And so I think I bring kind of a unique perspective with some of my life experience of helping people and helping them remember to take time for themselves, to take time to take breaks, to take healthy breaks. Because if you don't take healthy breaks, it's your mind will take a break for you, and you're going to start shutting down, and you're going to see your productivity slipping and waning. And you can't be as successful if you're too overloaded. I didn't understand that for a long time, and because I've struggled with ADD, didn't even know I had it for a lot of years. But it's learning how to control that and use it the right way and channel our efforts effectively.
Right. Well, and I think so. The COVID-19 pandemic, whatever, a lot of people look at it from a very negative point of view, especially if they're out of work. But a lot of people have been so overdue for a vacation. And we've been given that. We're forced to take a vacation. Now you can't work, 60 hours a week. You have to unplug, and you're being forced to spend time with your family. You know what I mean? And so nobody in the family's quite used to that, because mom and dad were always off to work, or the kids were in school, and you might see each other for a couple hours. But I think there's so many more blessings because we're forced to slow down and reconnect with who we are in nature and stuff like that. Bike sales have gone way up because people finally get a chance to ride a bike as a family, so I think that's wonderful. So
there's a lot of good that has come out of this, even though there's hardships, and I don't want to discount the hardships anybody's gone through, but there's a lot of good. That time with family, that time for yourself, that time to learn and grow. And there's a lot of people offering information and courses online that are just like, we could use this as a time to grow. And it sounds like this is going to be continuing for a while. It's unfortunately not going away as soon as we had all hoped.
Yep, I feel you. So what was the hardest thing to overcome when starting your business?
Well, there's fear and just knowing that it's okay to go through the awkward stages of doing something new, of getting out there. There's a gentleman, Marshall Thurber, is a business consultant, and he says, anything worth doing well is worth doing badly in the beginning. Now you think about that, and we got to remember that when doing something new is scary, and we often put up a lot of resistance to doing something new or changing our routines, and we have all the fear and all the worry and all the doubt that comes in. But if you look back when you learn to ride a bike or drive a car, play an instrument or play a sport, most of us go into those type of new ventures with the idea that it's going to take a lot of practice, a lot of learning, and we know that we're not going to be a master the first time we do it. But over time, with a lot of repetition, that we get better and better and better. And I think we all have to remember that no matter what we're doing in our lives, it's okay to have some mistakes and some missteps along the way. But if you knew you had but you probably had somebody pushing you then that helped you keep that in perspective and keep you practicing, keep you working on it. And over time, you become better and better and better at it. So that's just, for me, starting something new. It's just remembering that it's okay if I'm not perfect. Like I keep, sometimes there's this, we want to hold back because it's like, I'm not quite ready. I'm not good enough yet. Can't go put myself out there yet. It's like, yeah, you can. We all have a great message to share. And a lot of people listening have a great message to share and story to tell. And they could change and inspire people's lives if we can just set aside some of that worry and fear that holds us back.
Right. Well, and even going back to one of the first things that we learn is standing and walking. When you're little, if you gave up the first time that you fell, you know what I mean? And so some of that is encouragement, but a lot of babies, they're doing it no matter what, and they're going to keep trying and they fall. Same with riding a bike and swimming. If you didn't swim perfectly the first time, which nobody does, and if you didn't continue, yeah. And so a lot of us wait until all our ducks are in a row, until it's pretty, until everything looks beautiful before we get out there. But we don't need to do that. And, I'm winging a lot of this. It's new to me. It's exciting. And I'm making mistakes. And, but I'm out there. You have to get started, even though it's scary. And you might not be perfect right in the beginning. So I asked this question to everybody because some people have it, some people don't. So do you have a support network of friends and family encouraging you to do this new venture? Or is it something that you feel like you're being compelled to do and you're going to do it no matter what?
No, and I am very fortunate in that front. My wife has been a little nervous and worried about me going through transition and doing something new, and she does not like to speak in public, and it scares her, and sometimes her negative energy around her fears of doing something like this kind of caused me to think twice or hesitate. But she's very supportive. I have my children are supportive, and then I've got a great network of friends and mentors and great people. I've got some friends who have been speaking that are on part of the National Speakers Association and that are helping me along the way and encouraging me. Got a great mentor in Todd Olson who's just really helped shape my life and inspire me. And just I've got such a great network of friends that believe in me, and some of them wondering why it's been taking me so long to do something like this.
And that's great. Pat on the back, a good push forward. Is like, you should have been doing that forever. I go, okay, well, now I feel better. I'm in the right direction. So what is your favorite thing about your business?
Just the ability to work with amazing people, having the chance, as a sales manager, I had some of those opportunities to work with some great salespeople, but doing something like this is working with people who really want to improve their life. That are seeking me out and having that motivation and that drive to improve. I also love that I get to work on my terms and set my own schedule and not be tied down with the corporate requirements. But I love learning and being engaged with some of the great minds in personal development and personal growth. some of that's the names that we all know, the Brian Tracy, the Brendan Burchard, the Jack Canfield, the Tony Robbins, but it's also the people like you and other coaches in this program and other people who are just aspiring and wanting to improve their lives, and that we were able to network together and work together and grow together, be involved in some mastermind groups and things like that. I just love that opportunity to learn and grow and be engaged in learning new things and improving myself on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Constant and never-ending improvement. We all, we have to move forward and try and better ourselves. So what inspires you? What are you passionate about? And it doesn't have to be business.
Oh, that's great. A lot of things. And I'm actually seeing the things I'm passionate about a lot more than I used to. I was so busy that work was my passion, but it wasn't really, because I wasn't really as happy inside as I thought. But I'm finding a lot of passion in getting out and riding a bike. I went on a 45-mile bike ride last week. I don't know before this year if I'd ever even been on a 4-mile bike ride, and I just am finding joy in that. And hiking. I live in Utah with these beautiful mountains, and just being able to go explore the mountains and see the beauty, and finding that joy so much more in things like that, and feeling that serenity and feeling God's presence and his love notes all around me when you're out in nature and just see that growth and rebirth and family. I love being around family, spending time with my kids, my wife, extended family. I just love being with people. But other things I'm passionate about that are driving my message is just regaining control of our life and learning to set limits around how we use our technology instead of being controlled by it. Because I think we all need to understand that this is new. We're of the age that we didn't grow up with this technology, but our kids did, so they don't know anything different. And that's just their norm, is to have this phone in their hand all the time. And we've got to learn to have some balance with it, because I think we can have so much more satisfaction and joy in life if we can learn to have some control and some boundaries around it. I'm also passionate about brain health. I've been a student of Daniel Amen, and some of that's just around mindset and the law of attraction, like we've already talked about, but just realizing that we have the power to choose our thoughts. And yes, a lot of negative thoughts come up naturally for all of us, but learning how to take care of that, learning how to be aware of that, and then also, when I say brain health, it's the things that we take into our brain, the things we eat, the entertainment, the words we use with others and with ourselves. And then there's exercise and other things that, especially as I've been on my health and fitness journey and losing weight and feeling as good as I feel compared to where I was not very long ago, and just seeing the benefits. I get excited about that and wanting to help other people see that, hey, there is a way through. I struggled for 30 years with this too, but we can do this together and work together to have a better life.
I love that. That's beautiful. So who inspires you? And you probably mentioned a few of them, but who's big inspiration for you?
Well, yeah, there's a lot. Brian Tracy was my go-to for so long. He helped me in my sales career. I came across him 25, 30 years ago and watched some of his presentations, and just the way he helped me believe in myself as a salesperson and realize the possibilities that I had. It was mentors, even though I'd never personally met him. I feel like I know him just in all the information I listened to and attending some of his seminars. Many seminars I attended live, and then listened to a lot of his books. But just to help, just his positive attitude learning to, I still do an exercise that he taught years ago, looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I like myself. And just having that positive belief in what you're capable of. But Brennan Bouchard's another one. Daniel Amen, I mentioned him. I just love what he teaches. And we're still just barely in the infancy of learning about our mind. And there's so much to know there. And I think we can untap a lot more potential if we can understand our brain better. And but those are some of the people that inspire me. But again, like I mentioned, it's just the people who are getting out there and making effort, and authors, that have taken time to write their stories and share their wisdom that they've gained over the years. Those guys inspire me because I've read so many good books. There's so much good information. And, I hope that people are reading. I hope that you're reading more and finding ways to learn. You've got people that have years and years of wisdom and experience, and they're willing to share that with us. And I love, so there's a lot of those people. And then I've got some people in my life who also inspire me. I mentioned Todd Olson, who helped change my life and helped me fight through a lot of shame and guilt from addictions that I was dealing with, and other people. But and I can't leave out God. God inspires me, and his love and belief in me, and the way that he comes through for me in spite of all my flaws and weaknesses, and just knowing that he loves me and he's rooting for me and he knows what I can become. And if we could just see ourselves through his eyes, this would be a different world.
Absolutely. So, big question, last question. If you could leave one tip or golden nugget for the people listening, and it was the only thing you could say and your only chance to say it, what would that be?
I think it would come down to just believe in yourself. Our mindset is so critical, and you really can choose what you think about and what you focus on. And whatever we spend our time thinking about is going to come to pass in our life. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And if you can believe, all things are possible. That message is out there everywhere, and it's been so consistent throughout all kinds of different sources, not just the Bible and what Christ said, but it's everywhere. From leaders for hundreds and thousands of years have talked about the importance of believing in ourselves, and what we believe is going to come to fruition in our lives. So be careful what you think about. Be careful with the words that you use with yourself. Watch that negative self-talk, and remember that it's okay, if you have it, to just talk back to those negative thoughts. Challenge their validity, and believe that all things are possible, and believe in what you can become and who you can be in your life. Even if your life is a mess, believe that you can draw a line in the sand, and today's a different day. Today I could start unplugging. Today I could start taking care of my family and my health and all that kind of stuff. So, you talked about shame that you had before. All of us have shame somewhere in our life. And sometimes we'll say, well, who am I? My life's a mess, or I've done these things. Who am I to go out there and try and inspire others when I feel like my life's a mess? With believing that you're meant for more, and that, by changing what you say, you absolutely can become anything that you want to, starting from today. It didn't matter what you did in the past, right? That's right. And sometimes we forget that, sometimes your mess is your message. That's something I've heard recently. Mm-hmm. And the experiences that you've gone through, even though you've been through crap, you know what that's like to be there, and you can relate with people that have been there in ways that others can't. And you can really affect people in a big way. And you can make changes in your life, no matter what you're going through. But it has to start up here. It has to start with your beliefs and your thoughts, and believing that it's possible, and using affirmations and declarations and talking to yourself in a more positive way and rooting out that negativity. That negativity is going to come. But that's, and part of the reason I get so excited about unplugging from technology and because there's a lot of negativity that comes in there, or a lot of comparing. And if you get on social media too much, everybody else's life is perfect, but that's only the part of their life they're sharing. Exactly. Most people aren't sharing their problems on social media. They're sharing their victories and successes, but that's why we need to kind of tone down some of that stuff. And news is so negative. Anyways, I could go on and on about
I feel you.
some of the different ways we bring negativity into us, and we need to filter that negativity out and filter it. Even though they're coming in thoughts, we can still filter that out, but it takes some practice and some time. And none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. I still have the negative thoughts that come up, and the hesitation and the doubts and the worries, but I'm doing way better than I ever did before, because I've put them in perspective, and I've learned that, hey, it's okay to talk back to that. That's not real. That's not really going to happen. That's running away. And that little devil and adversary, or whatever you want to call him, that comes up.
Little guy on your shoulder.
Yeah. But we don't have to listen to that guy, because we got to remember there's another guy on the other shoulder. At least in the cartoons I watch. You got to listen to that voice.
I love those cartoons, the little devil and the angel. I believe we have both of those, and which one's stronger, which one has the louder voice, and we could choose which one to flick off or which one. Yeah. So is there anything else that you wanted to share? I know you have a couple giveaways. Was there anything else you wanted to share before we talk about the giveaways?
Yeah, and I think just another thing, we talked just a little bit about it, and a big part of my message is the importance of gaining control over our digital devices. And I just want to challenge everyone to look at how you're using the technology in your life and the screens, and how much screen time are you using, and are you using it in unhealthy ways? I think all of us could use to tone down our digital use a little bit more, and we can find greater connection with others. And there are ways to do it. I know sometimes it seems, and I was caught up in that, like, it's not, I can't let go of this. People are depending on me. People need me. But every one of our phones comes with voicemail. Email is all documented and recorded. Text messages are there. They don't go away after 60 seconds. But the way we act sometimes is that we're like Pavlov's dog. As soon as we hear a ding or a vibrate or a swoosh, we go running to our phone to see what it is, regardless of who we're with and who we're talking to and who we're in the middle of a conversation with. And we have to remember that those people are important, and probably more important than what's on the other end of that phone. And we can still get back to those people, but we can do it on our terms rather than on their terms. And those messages are there, and you can choose when to use your phone. You can choose to turn off some of those alerts that are coming in on your phone, so you're not so conditioned to go to it all the time. Because if we don't take some preventative measures, we're never going to make any progress, and it's only going to get worse and worse. But we don't need all of the information that comes in. We don't need to react to our phones like it's way more important than our spouse or our children, or even if it's a client we're face to face with that we're ignoring because we got a message because we forgot to turn off our ringer. But we can have better control. We can schedule some time away from email and phone calls, and it's going to be okay.
And as parents, how many hours a day are your kids on different devices, whether that's gaming devices or watching TV? And, they even have little TVs and DVD players in cars now. So kids are plugged in way more than we ever were when we were young. And and so that's something that hopefully we could help control. And just to give you an example, so if we let our phones control us, Are you there? You look frozen. I don't know if you can see how many unread emails I have on there. Can you see it?
That's a lot. That's more than me.
Guinness Book of World Records. And those are just unread emails. And so almost all of those is somebody else's agenda. And so if that was, 30 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, or 224,000 emails, unread emails, if I was to answer each one of those or read each one of those, how much time would that take?
Yeah.
And so I scan and do the important ones. But yeah, so you got other people's agendas showing up on your lap at your dinner table at the, when you're having lunch with your sweetheart or whatever. And so, yes, it's up to us to say, I'm going to be attached to that. And sometimes it takes training,
Right.
just like we said. So I love your message. So Duane is giving away a couple different things to help you. So if you go to his website, myheartsalive.com, so myheartsalive.com, he'll have an opt-in there where you put in your name and your email. And so he's giving away a digital distraction quiz and then a beginner's guide to overcome digital distractions. Did you want to talk about either of those real quick?
Yeah, and I'll give you a couple of things just to help, even if for those that don't go. I hope you'll go. I hope you'll go download this. And I offer some additional courses that get into more detail on how to overcome. But I've just got a guide with 12 steps on overcoming some of the digital distractions that we have. One thing is to unsubscribe from some of the emails that you get. How many of those emails in your inbox are because you signed up for something and you've never read an email, or maybe after the first month you never read another email? Why do we fill up our space with something we don't ever intend to read again? Or you can put them in other folders, put them in a folder and you can go look at them on your time because it's taking you longer to scroll through all those emails. So that's one tip, is to just get rid of some of those incoming alerts, get rid of that email that's coming in that you don't have time for. Either have it automatically go to a folder or just unsubscribe. When I started on my journey a year and a half ago, I think I unsubscribed from more than 100 email lists. And there's probably still more. Like I say, I'm still working on this. I don't have this perfected, but I've made some great progress. Another thing, again, just another couple tips, is to watch your screen time reports. Are very telling. Most phones have a built-in screen time report, and I'll go through some detail on how to do that on that guide and in my other programs. But look at those and look at how much time you're using. It's pretty mind-blowing when you see how many hours a day you really spend. Some of us think we're not on there very much, and then you go look at that screen time report and I'm like, oh my gosh. But it'll also tell you what activities you're doing, because there are some healthy activities. Because I use mine to listen to classical music. I use mine for meditations, some audiobooks and some good information. But I've been stuck in the game trap where I spent 2 to 3 hours a day go by playing games. I'm like, whoa, thought I was on there for 20 minutes. But then one other one is to go look at your notifications and go to your settings that have notifications, and how many of those notifications can you turn off? I have turned off notifications for almost everything except for text messages and phone calls. I turned off notifications for emails, for Facebook, and then every app you download, if you don't set it right, it's going to have notifications. But you don't need those constant chimes, beeps, tweets, everything that comes in. We don't need all of that, because then it's just noise that's going to distract you. And just hearing that noise or that distraction come through, even if you don't go tend to it, the studies show that it can take 30 to 45 minutes to regain the same level of focus that you had before. And that can be the case if you're talking to your wife. That can be the case if you're in the middle of a proposal or an important report that you're doing, or just spending time with the family. But if you're that distracted because you start thinking about it, and then if you ever go pick it up, sometimes it's longer than that, because next thing you know, you're seeing where all your friends went on vacation. So turn off the alerts and only have the most critical alerts. And I promise you, you can turn off more than you think you can. Some of the things that you're getting alerted for, you don't really need. And so anyways, those are a few of the tips that are on there. But there's more, and we can do better. We can all do a little better, and everything's going to be okay if we let go of that and be more present with the people that we're with.
I love that. That's awesome. So one more time, go to myheartsalive.com, myheartsalive.com, and then get those the digital distraction quiz and the beginner's guide to overcoming digital distractions. Thank you very much, Duane, for being here. I appreciate it. Love the background. Yeah, I think you have a great message.
Thanks, Robyn.
You're going to help so many people.
Yeah. Thanks, Robyn, and thank all of you for taking the time to listen to us today. And we hope that you'll go out and make some changes in your life and go pursue your dreams.
Absolutely. And thank you very much, everybody. If this message resonated with you, please share it. Share it with anybody that you know really could use some unplugging. And basically all of us could use some unplugging. Obviously, 220-something thousand emails is just mass overkill. And now running joke, I have, the Guinness Book of World Records of unread emails on my phone, but, there's no way I could ever get through all that. And if I tried, then I wouldn't be present ever. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, and share the video, and we'll talk to you later.